It's time to feed that Tamagotchi and put that Gigapet to sleep because I'm Aaron and this is Talking Points. So what's up everybody and welcome to another episode of Talking Points here on Triforce of Chaos. Today's episode is all things virtual pet. And, I'm being very lenient on the term virtual pet because we'll even talk about not just virtual pets but interactive toys such as Furby and Ivo. We'll go through everything. We'll even talk about the first virtual pets that have come out, that came out. We'll then go into the special edition ones that were fueled by the commercial success of movies and games. We'll talk about the internet pet-based games. That's a tongue twister right there in its own, so forgive me if I stumble on that. We'll talk about the virtual pet craze that moved into and how it moved into the console gaming world. We'll talk about, and then we'll finally round out the episode with our talking points. So with all that said, let's get talking. So back in the 90s, kids really didn't have a lot of interactivity in games. I mean, there was interactivity, but it was like few and far between that someone would actually get up and play with a game and continuously play with it. They'd move on. Well, gaming companies started seeing this and they said, well, what if we created a game that was all based on simulation of taking care of a pet? So in '95, PF Magic comes out with Cats and Dogs, which was the first real virtual pet. Some people say, oh no, you gotta go further back to the pet rock. No, that's not a virtual pet. That was just a rock that someone decided to, say, hey, I can make money off of this. Let me just go down to the river, pick up a few stones, put them in boxes, make the boxes look like crates, boom, I've made some money. So, Cats and Dogs, which they're both spelled with Z's at the end because, that was the thing in the 90s, cats, dogs. It made it sound rad, made it sound cool, PF Magic comes out with these two games, and they're part of the Virtual Pets with a Z franchise. Well, Cats and Dogs comes out, and you get these games that you can play on a computer where you're taking care of this cat, and you're breeding it with another cat, or you're taking care of this dog and breeding it with another dog. And now you're getting this pet that you can take care of on your computer because mom and dad won't let you have a cat at home, or mom and dad won't let you have a dog at home, So, soon after, handheld gaming took, when it started really taking its effect on gamers, small LCD toys were coming out, like Game & Watch and all that, which came out in the 80s, but, the people that were nostalgia for Game & Watch wanted something that they could include this kind of virtual pet concept with, so they started coming out with Tamagotchi and NanoPet and Gigapet. Well, next thing you know, people are just eating these things alive. They want them, they gotta have them. I remember seeing the commercials and I wanted it immediately. So, we started seeing, everybody in my area started seeing the pet dog, the pet cat, and then you got Tamagotchi and you had the weird, like, strawberry shaped guy like this right here, or everybody almost always got if you were pitiful at taking care of your baby Gigapet or Tamagotchi, the duck dude. I can't remember names too well, forgive me, but all of these things started really taking off and kids enjoyed these things. It was like, I have a pet that I can take care of, I can take it to school, which some schools said, no, don't bring this to your classroom or you're getting it taken away. And you were afraid that if you didn't take care of it, it was literally a pet that it felt like it was living because if you didn't take care of it, you couldn't pause it. So it was kind of sad when you got home from school and, nobody was home to take care of it, so it ended up dying anyway. So, next thing you know, we start to see that toys are now starting to take this virtual pet form in the later 90s and early 2000s. For instance, we get Sony coming out with the Ivo. We get Furby, made by Tiger, and then I think Hasbro now Hasbro took Tiger over or something. But Furby becomes a thing, and so it moves forward, and then all of a sudden with Star Wars being re-released and the special editions coming out, they had to make toys to go along with it because everybody loved Star Wars. So next thing you know, Gigapet is teaming up with Star Wars to create a Yoda, Rancor, and I want to say R2-D2 was another one. So you get these three out there, and then Jurassic Park decides, well, since we're coming out with The Lost World, here, let's throw in our baby T-Rex. So now you get the baby T-Rex, which I had the baby T-Rex, and it was fun playing with it. It looked kind of weird after a while, you know, once it got old, because its nose would start drooping down a little bit. Yeah, it was creepy towards the end. But, you know, you start seeing that movies are getting involved with this craze, and now all of a sudden, it's huge in Japan, it's slightly popular here with kids, and in the UK it's slightly popular as well. And then all of a sudden video game franchises are noticing this craze in the late 90s, so they said, well, here, we'll throw in, you know, Pokemon, the Virtual Pikachu for Pokemon, and the Pocket Station for PlayStation, which had a few games on it that were geared towards virtual pets, like the Chocobo game in Final Fantasy VIII, where you had to take care of a Chocobo. And then recently, getting back into this special edition craze of virtual pets and interactive pets, we see Furby and Star Wars team up to make the Furbaka. So it was kind of funny to see just how all of this stuff has really kind of taken off because of 90s nostalgia again. You know, I'm seeing a lot more people selling Tamagotchis and picking them up and saying, look, I still play with this. I mean, for instance, I still have mine, although I need to put new batteries in because I'm terrible at taking care of these things. And so, you know, during the and then all of a sudden, you know, kids become more computer associated and fixed on playing the computer games. And so these virtual pets, again, take a back seat. But next thing you know, we're playing with virtual pets on the internet. So we start seeing the first game that really came out for internet that was a pet sim based game was Horseland, which came out in '95, and it taught people how to play with a horse as well as raise and breed virtual horses. Then all of a sudden we get Neopets, and I mean, I remember everybody that was in my middle school and early high school days were talking about their Neopet and how they had it and all this. And I had friends that had Neopets, and then I mean, you had to constantly get on there daily to take care of this one pet. So it made it not so much a hassle, but it made it feel like you had this virtual fantasy pet, because you could get dragons, you could get tigers, you could get all kinds of different creatures. And you had to make sure you took care of them, or else they would run away, or they'd get sick, or they'd be sad. And it affected, the less time you spent with them, the more their emotions changed. But then soon, marketing started coming in, merchandising started coming in for kids. And next thing you know, we're getting stuffed animals that are interactive on the internet. So now you can go out and get this stuffed animal that becomes a virtual pet with webkins, for instance. I almost slipped up on that and said webkins, but webkins. And the webkins were, I mean, I knew a lot of kids in the mid-2000s that were like, I gotta have this webkin, I've gotta get this special webkin. I want this webkin, can you find this webkin for me? And it was like a Beanie Baby that, you know, you could scan a code or get the code off of the Beanie Baby, or, you know, stuffed animal. I shouldn't say Beanie Baby, but it was sort of like that, because, you know, Beanie Babies were a craze all back in the 90s. But anyway, the next thing you know, you were able to play with this virtual pet that you also had a stuffed version of that you could hold and play with and all that. So then we move on into the console era, where, you know, not up until about, I think, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and I know Xbox 360 and Wii all kind of took on with the webcam and movement-based controls. And with that, they brought in their pets. So games like Kinectimals and Nintendogs and iPet enter the console world. But before that, you know, a lot of people don't remember these. Before that, I mean, you got to think about it. Pokemon itself is a virtual pet game because you have to take care of these Pokemon in order for them to be the best that you can use in battle. Digimon is about the same way. You have to make sure this Digimon is well taken care of during its time. And then there was the game Monster Rancher, where you could plug in different discs from different games, and all of a sudden it would take the code from the discs and make it into a pet. And then recently we've gotten back into the collecting monsters and putting them into and taking care of them and making sure that they're well taken care of so that they'll do their best for us with Yokai Watch. And from what I gather, Animal Crossing, I've never played Animal Crossing, so I can't speak too much on it, but you know, it's one of those things that I have to say that we're seeing it start. We see it keep coming back, and now, I mean, to continue on with it, I mean, look at what we're getting on cell phones nowadays. Everybody's getting these virtual pets now on there that you have to take care of. I mean, there's so many out there to name that I won't even bother naming all of them. But it's funny to see just how all of this stuff is really taking off again. It's cyclical. It's there, you know. Virtual pets are always going to be that pet that we can have when we can't have pets in our immediate area. So now that we kind of talked about virtual pets, let's move on to our talking points. Last week we asked you what was your favorite virtual pet. Now before I start off on this, thanks again Grumpy PCer for leaving us a like and a shout out on today's episode. We'll be glad. I wanted to give you a shout out back. I went back and watched your Warframe video, one of your Warframe videos, and I'm just now getting into Warframe with my PlayStation 4. So I think it's pretty cool. Again, thanks Grumpy PCer. But our first answer comes from Kevin, who actually answered in the comments section. So thanks Kevin. That helps us out a lot there. That gets a comment on the video. So thank you for steamrolling or spearheading that. I should say not steamrolling, spearheading. So Kevin writes, the Connectimals. Again, I haven't played much with Connect other than the time we did Connect bowling for extralife.org. There we go. That's it. Our Extra Life game day event. So yeah, I'm terrible at remembering what everything's called anymore. So Emily writes, she said Tamagotchi when it's Tamagotchi, but you know I'm not gonna be a grammar Nazi on this. But she said Tamagotchi for the win. Again, I played with the Tamagotchi. It's so much fun to have, you know, a number of monsters or a number of pets in one machine that you can literally play for hours. You know, making sure it's well taken care of, making sure it's fed. And, you know, they've moved on to this Tama World thing, which has different backgrounds. You can customize this thing all you want to. Lee writes, my sister had a Tamagotchi, but I had the Neopet, so I'm going with Neopet. Again, Neopet was kind of the craze back then. Everybody had to play with Neopets. Bobby also says, okay, this is a Japanese name, so it's Shoiru, my Neopet, which Shoiru apparently was a dragon. Again, Japanese words just throw me the fuck off. So, Hope writes, Neopets. So, I mean, we're getting a lot of Neopet fans out there. Valony writes, my Nano Baby and Gigapets. I remember the Nano Baby. That was like the first demonstration of a virtual baby that you had to take care of and make sure it did well and all that. You know, and it was awesome. And then the Gigapets, I mean, I had the dog, I had the T-Rex, and I had this one that was like a Tamagotchi, but not a Tamagotchi, so, you know, it was pretty cool. Jen writes, who am I kidding? I like to play Neopets too. I have 3. A unicorn, a Shoiru, and a Peofin. Apparently it's a horse dolphin. A horse dolphin. And Shoiru is a dragon, so we know what that is, but Peofin. That just sounds so terrible. But anyway, I haven't played it in a while, but I like that one because your pets don't actually die. They just become extremely, extremely unhappy and starving. Plus, it's not all about playing with pets either. It's also about playing other Flash-based games. I also enjoy playing Sims 3 and raising the pets on there. There are so many different varieties of pets you can have, ranging from the normal fish, dogs, or cats, to the more interesting horses, to the mystical or virtual dragons and digital pets. I also like that you could customize your pets in the same way you might customize a person on The Sims. It was very detailed and realistic. Yeah, I had to squeeze all that in one slide, so it was, bear with me for stammering and slowing down on that. Alex writes, never had one, was too busy playing horror games. Okay, Alex, thank you for the fancer. So anyway, for our teamsters, Misty writes, Tamagotchi! Yay! I put on the extra enthusiasm for you, Misty. Yay! Josh says, Pokemon Virtual Pikachu, which Josh is actually one of the first people to actually mention the Virtual Pikachu. Everybody else talks about Neopets and Tamagotchi. Well, you know, that was a big thing in its own, because, you know, like I said, Nintendo and Game Freak realized that they could make something out of all this, so that's what they did. They came up with the Virtual Pikachu. So this week so that's it for all of our fancers and teamsters for last week. So this week we want to know, what world from a movie, video game, or book would you like to live in? As for me, I would have to say that the world of the Elder Scrolls series, preferably Skyrim, to be honest with you, would be where I'd want to be. I mean, you've got all kinds of fantasy stuff going on. You can use magic. You could do whatever you want. It's so awesome just how much there is to do in those worlds. And all the worlds are freaking beautiful, and just each place has its own different customs, and it's well thought out. So that's where I would like to live. Where would you like to live? You can let us know in the comments below, or on our Facebook and Twitter pages, where we'll be posting the talking point. That's pretty much it for today's episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Check out our merch shop. We got some awesome shirt designs there, including the new Broforce one I think everybody will like. So anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, keep talking.
You want to know a secret?
What's that?
You can click this column over here. Yeah, that one right there, and watch the video. Or
you can click that column.
You can click my dick to subscribe. Thanks for watching.